you have got to know what your why is. Like, why did you start? You know, some moms start off homeschooling and then some moms are in traditional school and then they make the leap and there's a reason you left or a reason you chose homeschool.
Sure.
And so I think it's really important to write it down. Like, have it in front of you. Why are you doing this? Because then in those messy days when nobody wants to do the lesson and it's not going according to the picture you had in your head, you can be like, oh yeah, you know, with my kid's mental health was on the rocks when we were in the public school system. So I'm going to keep going. This is really important.
Yeah.
Or my kid has special needs and the system just wasn't working. Or we wanted together time. But here I am yelling at my kid about science. You know, so like, remember your why and take a deep breath and back up.
Hey everybody, welcome to Wire Talk. So this month we are focused all things back to school. We've gone through preschool, elementary, middle, and high school, and today we're going to focus on homeschooling. So all of you mamas out there that are getting ready to embark on homeschooling your children for the first time or the 10th year in a row, today is for you. So our guest on the podcast today is Katie Leipprandt. She is our producer for Wire Talk, and you guys are in a treat because she has been homeschooling for over a decade. So let's join her in the studio.
Welcome to Wire Talk. I'm Emily, your host, and with me is my mom. Hello, Mom.
Hello, how are you, Emily?
Good. It's been a good August. We've done a lot of fun things in the studio. We've had some great guests.
Getting everybody ready for back to school.
That's right. So we've had preschool director.
Yep.
We've had elementary school, middle school, and high school
principals.
But we got to love on our homeschool mamas. We can't forget about them.
Forget them.
Nope.
You're too important. So
You're too important.
Today we've got a very special guest in the studio, and that's our favorite, Katie Leipprandt. She's the producer of Wire Talk. She's been a Birds on a Wire mom. I mean, Lordy, about 15 years. So I think you guys are in for a treat.
You are in for a treat, and she just kind of strips it down and talks about homeschooling, the goods and the hard times, and just kind of the way she had to shift her why during the seasons. And she's been doing it quite a long time, so I'm excited for all you guys to get the questions you have and have them being answered by, I think if you're doing something for over 15 years, you're a professional.
I think so.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, Mom, you're a professional mom.
Am I a professional mom?
You're a double professional because we're almost all in our 30s.
That is so weird. I tell you turning 33, Kelsey turning 35 this year, Taylor 31.
What?
Everybody's in their 30s but Abby. It's just
she's
so
coming.
weird.
She's coming.
It's just strange, guys.
So, anyway, let's give a warm welcome to Katie and welcome her into the studio. Well, hello, Katie. It's fun to have you in the actual studio with us today.
So fun.
For those who don't know, Katie is she's the only reason we have a podcast because she gets all the questions. She puts them in a script for us. She organizes it. She talks to you guys. She makes it wonderful and beautiful, and we would be lost without her. So welcome to the inside of the studio.
It is fun to be on the other side of the camera. I mean, it's terrifying. I'm a little intimidated. But it's fun to see your faces.
I know.
So I usually just hear your voices when I'm on the other side. So
and I bet everybody's loving seeing your face right now.
Yes.
This is what she looks like.
guys.
Doesn't she look like Blake Lively? That's what I always say.
I will take it.
Yes.
I will take it.
She's also the one who gives your amazing mid-rolls, like ads and things like that. And all of the wonderful things that are coming out of Birds on a Wire.
Hey guys, it's Katie.
That's
Yeah,
right.
for sure.
This is the Katie. So, Katie, we officially know you're here. That's exciting. But how long have you been a mom? Tell us about your family. You are going to be talking about homeschooling life. So just give us a little bit of a high point view into your life and how's it going?
All right. So thanks for having me.
Oh,
you're
you're
so
welcome.
happy.
So fun. So my oldest is 16.
Ooh.
So I guess I've been a mom for 16 plus years now. So we have 4 kids. So Elijah is 16, Britton is 14, Ben is 13, and Jude is 11. So just turned 11 this summer. So if you're doing the math, that's 4 kids, 5 years between them. So they're really close together. But yeah, we live here in Georgia and been here. We've lived in the same house on the same street my entire adult life. So yeah, that's us.
And then how did you get into homeschooling?
Okay, so back before we had any kids, I honestly forget how I got this book, but I was handed a book by John Taylor Gatto called Dumbing Us Down. And I really don't remember, but he was New York City's Teacher of the Year for like 3 years in a row. He'd been in the education system for 30 plus years. I think he actually won Teacher of the Year for the entire state of New York.
Oh, wow.
And then he quit like a couple months after winning this, and he quits and he writes this book about like, hey, this is what I think is wrong with the system.
Oh, wow.
From my perspective as an insider and what I've seen and what, like, how I wish it would change. Basically, I think the bottom line of his book was just that the school system kind of diminishes kids' curiosity, the kind of formulaic way that kids are taught, because the way you kind of have to do it in a classroom when you have so many kids and one teacher. And I mean, it makes sense. It's not individualized. So his whole thing was like, hey, maybe there's a different way to do this, which I'd never thought about before, because I went to public school. My mom's retired with the public school system. Like, I loved school. I loved sharpened pencils and like, you know, so big nerd. But anyways, I was like, oh, this is really interesting. Maybe there's a different way to do it. And so I do feel like the Lord just put it on my heart to homeschool and to try something different. So, but that was before we had any kids. So I just think God has a sense of humor.
Right.
Because the fall that Elijah had turned 5 and was going into kindergarten, Jude was 2 months old. So it was like, hey, now you're homeschooling and you have a 3-year-old and a 2-year-old and a newborn.
And a baby.
So it was kind of funny because the picture I had in my head of like, we're going to watercolor in the sunlit playroom and classical music is going to be playing and like, you know, this very like discovery led. It was like chaos. It was chaos. But that's how I got into it. And I've never regretted it. It's been quite an adventure.
Yeah. I love that. And, you know, this whole month we've been focusing on back to school.
Yeah.
And as you and I were talking, because you're the producer, like, let's talk through preschool, elementary, all the things. We decided to combine the middle school and high school and then focus on homeschool. Yeah. So I was like, well, then you have to be our expert in that because you've done it so long. But let's go all the way back to your early years.
Okay.
And, you know, what did that look like? And what do you wish someone had told you in those early years?
Gosh, the early years. So a lot of reading. I remember that because I love reading. If I could just sit all day long with a book, I would. So we read aloud a ton, a lot of messy art projects, and honestly, a lot of tears, like mine and the kids.
I was going to say yours or the kids?
They were both of ours. So I think I had sky high expectations of what this was going to look like. Like I said, you know, the sun dappled reading room with like the colored pencils in rainbow order, and then
nobody would get them out of order.
No, and no one's going to be upset. No one's going to have bad attitude. Like I am going to be the perfectly peaceful teacher.
Yes.
Reality was very different from that. So yeah, lots of crying because my expectations were not being met, and my kids were not being compliant.
Right.
I was forcing them to do stuff that they didn't want to do. Anyways, it was really difficult, I'd say, for the first couple of years. And I wish someone had told me like to focus on relationship over results.
Like
your relationship with your kids is the number one thing. And if that's out of order, then no one can learn.
Yeah.
Like you can't take in information from someone that you're mad at or who's mad at you, or if you feel like Greg's yelling at you over something, you're not like, oh, tell me more, wise one.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, exactly.
You know, same thing with our husbands or with anything with your kids. I'm like, if you prioritize the relationship, and like if the relationship's not in a good place, now is not a good time to do letter sounds. Like take a break.
Sure.
Take 10 minutes, go for a walk, go to the park, come back when everyone is feeling good and try again. So I wish I had done it more often. I wish we'd gone to the park more often. I think in those early years, there's so much a sense of like, you don't know if it's working yet. And you're doing something different from everybody else. And so you want to show like, look, my kid's reading.
Yes.
Look, we know our math facts.
Yeah.
And just my personality too, wanting to know that like I'm doing well and I'm succeeding in this.
Yeah.
I did not take a break and go to the park like we should have, as often as we should have.
Right.
I did not say, you know what, lesson plan's out the window. We're just going to bake cookies today and stay in our PJs. And I wish I had done that. And that would have put the relationship at the forefront. And so I wish I had been able to relax a little bit more in the early years. I do feel like I've learned that.
How long do you think it took you into it? Several years or?
Yes, I would say Elijah was like second grade.
Okay.
When I started to, and I do think probably 2 at that point. He was like 7. We're starting to get a little fruit. He can read.
Yeah.
Britton is coming on. Britton had gotten a little older. I wasn't nursing. Hormones probably had something to do with it.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
But I do think it took a couple years to settle in and calm down a little bit. And 2, I think at that like when we started, I didn't really have any community. I didn't know anybody who was
Right.
who was homeschooling, didn't have friends. And a couple years in, we had started to gather some community. And that just, people to
Made a world
encourage
of
me.
difference.
Yeah, to speak truth and life. And that made a big difference.
Well, kudos for you for sticking with it. I think if I had a 2-month-old and I was starting to homeschool, I would have said, screw it, you're going to public school.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Well,
But
and
you didn't.
I did put Elijah in a hybrid his kindergarten year because I panicked.
Yeah.
And I was like, I just don't know if I can do this. So his kindergarten year, he did a homeschool hybrid where he went 2 days a week and 3 days a week we're at home. It was nothing wrong with the school, but it was the worst of both worlds for me.
Right.
So it was not, it didn't allow us to like have the freedom to wander down the rabbit trails that I wanted to do.
Right.
And it also meant I was waking the baby up to take him 2 days a week. And
Oh.
so anyways, we did that 1 year. That did not work. Lots of tears. First grade, we were on our own. Again, on my own, isolated, lots of tears.
Yeah.
But I do think I felt called toward it. And I think there was always a thread of hope that like, this is it.
Yeah.
There was always good, even on the hardest days. I was like, there is something really good here.
Okay.
And that helped me.
And y'all do
stick with
hybrid
it.
now, right? With classical?
So we're part of Classical Conversations, which
Right.
it's not a hybrid, but it does provide structure. And we are in a formal environment 1 day a week.
I got
So
you. Thursdays.
on Thursdays, that's
And
right.
we always
Thursdays.
say, can you meet on Thursday? And she goes, I have
Cannot.
classical conversations. And I'm like, forget. All these years, I still forget.
That's okay.
That's quite all right.
I think it's kind of like motherhood with your first. You fret about everything and you're like, oh, it's not going to work or I'm doing
Absolutely.
something wrong. And then by the second, you're like, okay, you know what? If we are 15 minutes off of nap schedule, it's going to be okay.
100%.
And if we, whatever, blah, 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 it's going to be okay. So by second, third, fourth, you're like, all right, well, we're going to be fine. You're going to get the letter sounds. We're still going to eat some cookies, but it's going to be good.
It's going to be all good.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%.
So how has your why for homeschooling evolved from reading the book to the really hard first couple of years to now your kids are older? And I mean, from what I can see, they are thriving.
Yeah.
They're not just killing it. They are thriving and killing it.
Yeah.
So when we started out, I mean, I think the book was like high level theoretical, right? This is better for them as human beings. But practically speaking, a lot of homeschooling was about the schedule. Like it was when you have the 5-year-old and then the toddlers and then the baby. In our neighborhood, the school bus came at 6:45 for kindergartners. It was just still dark. And I just remember thinking like, for 5 years, I have been working to get this kid to like sleep to a decent time,
Yeah.
And to
now
get,
we're getting out of
and
it.
now I'm going to wake him up before the babies. And I was like, this just felt wrong in my soul. I was like, I
Sure.
don't want to wake him up. We're going to start our day and then he's going to be off and then the toddlers are going to start their day. And then 2:30, 3 o'clock while the baby's napping and the toddler's napping, I'm going to get everybody up and go pick them up from school. Like it felt like that feels
Exactly.
wrong.
Yeah.
We've been working towards like something very different. And like, so that felt like, that feels like that's going to be hard for me.
Right.
So part of the why in the early years was I wanted all of my kids to be on the same schedule and I wanted them to get to spend their best hours together.
Yeah.
So I didn't want, the cranky 4 o'clock in the afternoon, the kiddos come home from school. They're kind of exhausted.
They are exhausted.
And they walk in, but now like the toddlers are so excited to see them and they want to play, but you're like, they need their time. And so I was like, maybe we could just spend the best part of our day together. So we did it in the early years, honestly, for the schedule and for the family time. And like, I want us all to be doing one thing together. And then now I think as they're older, it's really just the possibilities that you can get into with homeschooling have really opened up. I felt like when I graduated from high school, I still didn't really know who I was or what I was like really good at or what God had gifted me to do. Because I was like, school was about checking the box and like go to class and getting A's. And it didn't matter if you liked the subject or if you were terrible. It was like, how do you work the system and get into college?
Yeah,
and it was, that's what school was about for me. And so it took me, honestly, till I've been working a couple of years to be like, oh, this is actually what I'm good at. Like, this is kind of, I should pursue this type of thing. So now with my kids getting older and being able to be around them so often and see them in different arenas, I'm like, I want them to leave my home, like knowing what they're good at and knowing who they are in Christ and what God has like put uniquely in them that they can offer the world. And so it's like, if you need to go to college to pursue that, let's go on. If you are on a different path, like don't go to college. That's totally fine. But I want them to be very rooted and grounded in who Christ is and then what he has called them to do. I mean, even if it's obviously at 18, you don't need to have your your career path laid out, but I want them to not be on the treadmill. Does that make sense? Like not just
totally.
So my why is like helping them figure out whatever we're doing, whether it's math or science or writing a paper, like where's God in this?
Mm-hmm.
Who is Christ and who am I? So that keeps me motivated.
Hey moms, it's Katie. Well, it's the month of August, and that means back to school, back to routines, and we want you to get back in a group. Grab a few friends, neighbors, or moms from church and walk through one of our Birds on a Wire video studies together, like Peace for the Anxious Mom or The Counterintuitive Parent. And as a fun bonus, when you buy a study from Birds on a Wire this August, we'll send you a free sweatshirt. Just use the promo code PEACE at checkout and cover shipping. It's our little way of saying, you've got this, mama. Head to boaw.mom/study to select a study and get your group going. That's boaw.mom/study. Because fall is better with friends and cozy sweatshirts.
So walk us through a typical homeschool day. What does that look like now?
So we are a part of Classical Conversations, like you talked about. So every Thursday, we are more in a traditional classroom setting. So we go, we sit, they're all in a different group with kids their own age for a full day. So we're there. But the other days of the week that we're at home, I'm an early riser. So I get up early, I get my workout in a couple days a week. I used to be much more consistent, but a couple days a week, get my workout in, get my quiet time. And then the kids usually start to wander in like 8:30, 9, which is a delight.
It is a delight.
It's a delight.
It's one of the benefits for them.
It is. It's one of the benefits of homeschooling.
For
It's
sure.
just that sleep. I mean, so many, that's a big issue with our teens is the lack of sleep. So to be able to give them that gift of starting a little later and getting up on their, I mean, they're still setting an alarm to get up at 8:30 for the teenagers, but.
Like, oh, it's so early.
I know.
You're like,
I'm
you're fine.
Your friends have been at school for an hour. Let's go. But they'll wander on. And then we just, in our family, we start with math first. We just get out of the way. My brain is like on in the morning better than it is in the afternoon. So I'm like, I need you guys to tackle maybe the things that are a little more like there is a right answer and we need to find it. And we need us to do that earlier in the day because that's when I can help. So they all start with math, and with the younger ones, I'm still sitting with them. My high schoolers they're on their own. They grab their book, they're reading their lesson, they're doing that. So we all start with math in the morning. And then I start around 10 o'clock. Jude will be done with math, and I sit with him for a while, and we'll work on his like English language, so grammar and writing. If he's got a paper to write or a presentation to do. So I'll sit with him and do one-on-one time in the morning, which is constantly interrupted. Britton will come and be like, hey, what am I supposed to do for this? Elijah will come. As they've gotten older, it's like, can y'all just wait a second? Can you guys wait 5 minutes?
Yeah.
I'll try to do one-on-one time with Jude in the morning. And then usually by lunchtime, he's done. So he's 6th grader. So 3 hours, he's done.
Yeah.
So he hits math. We do like English language, which is reading, writing. Okay. He'll write a paper for Classical Conversations. There's always memory work to do, which he can review on his own. But usually by lunchtime, he's done if he's been disciplined.
Like his instructional time. And then he's got his independent stuff for other things.
Yeah, he does not need, he's off on his own. And so in the afternoon, then we all have lunch together, which is delightful. But also, when you're a homeschool mom, your kitchen is never clean.
Yeah.
Because they all wake up and eat breakfast at different times. And then I'm like, we get the kitchen. Anyways, then it's lunchtime. Like, there's just food being made at all times. So I had to die to that. But then in the afternoons, that's when, with the older kids, I'll check in with them. That's when we have like really good discussions about like the book that they're reading, and we'll talk about it. They're usually writing essays on the literature that they've read. So I'll edit their papers or listen if they've got a presentation they have to do. You know, they'll do that. We'll work on that together. They'll do that for me, and we'll tweak it. And then usually by 3 o'clock, everyone's done, with maybe the exception of my oldest, who sometimes he'll go a little bit later.
Procrastinator.
Yeah, a little bit of a perfectionist. You know, just wants to do things well. So sometimes we don't start doing them because we're terrified we won't do them well.
Sure.
We're still working through that. But yeah, usually by 3 o'clock, everyone's pretty much done with academics, which is good because then I try to be like, hey, I got to work. I got to go do so from like, I usually set myself up for work while they're doing math, like lay out the day, what do I need to get done? And then in that afternoon, 3 to 5, 3 to 6, whatever I have to do for my work, they know I'm working on that. So that's cool. A pretty typical day. But it's much different now because they're so much more independent.
How do you manage that the school world from 8:30 to 3, and then you put on your working hat, but then you also have your teaching hat and your mom hat. So how do you take your hat off and put different hats on, even during the day when you're like, Mom, this is happening.
Yeah.
And then, oh, teacher. I mean, I don't really call you teacher, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like, how do you differentiate those two?
So I think if my heart's in the right place, there it doesn't have to be any differentiation.
Okay.
I mean, I think all of motherhood is teaching.
Yeah.
And
Well,
I
that's
really do feel like that's what God's called all parents to.
Mhm.
Right? Like from Deuteronomy, like,
Yeah.
hey, these commands that I give you, you're to teach them to your children when you sit in the
Mm.
house and when you walk on the way and when you lie down and when you rise up. And then like in Ephesians, Paul says, right, you're to teach your children or raise your children in the discipline and the instruction of the Lord. Like,
Mhm.
I don't think there's a difference between teaching your kid to load the dishwasher or
Right.
to obey you when you say, hey, we don't talk to mom that, or,
Mhm.
Yeah.
hey, go pick your shoes up and hey, it's time to do Latin declensions.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like if you've laid a foundation with your
Mhm.
kids that they respect mom and that they listen and obey, which I think it's important to do in those early years, then there's not like, okay, now I'm going to listen to mom when she says, we're going to do our spelling. And
Right.
so it shouldn't be different if
Mhm.
you're truly, I think it's what all parents, and God's like innately wired us as human beings to learn.
That's true.
Mhm.
And so like if you've done the work and like your home is a place where the relationships are real and solid and
Mhm.
honest and there's peace in your home, then like all of us learned how to walk and talk without formal instruction,
Mhm.
right? If you're in a nurturing environment with people who are modeling the way,
Mhm.
then innately like we pick it up. So I try to remember that if I model the right attitudes, and I come alongside my kid as opposed to trying to like dispense knowledge from on high,
Mhm.
then it kind of naturally happens. I mean, it's like when my kids are putting together a Lego set and they like are getting frustrated when they were
Mhm.
younger. Like, Mom, come help me. Like I didn't like stand in front of them with the Lego instructions and be like, and now, take the red brick and put it on the blue plate. Like you
Sure.
sit next to them and you're like, I don't know, buddy. Like let's open the instructions. Let's look at it. What step are you on? Find out,
Yeah.
you're like, you come alongside them and you're doing it together. And so I think that takes some of the pressure off
Yeah.
as a mom. Like you don't have to know calculus. You don't have to remember it. You get to, especially if you start when they're young, like you get to learn multiplication again, and then you get to learn
wow.
division again, and
Yeah.
then you get to walk alongside them and figure it out together. Or, hey, I'm not going to teach you math, but we're going to figure out an online course
Mhm.
that's going to do that for you.
Yeah.
So
That's cool.
yeah, I think it's there's a lot of humility there, and
Mhm.
like I'm just your mom,
Mhm.
and then we're going to figure this out together.
I love that.
Because yeah, I do think God has called us to do that, and I think He's innately wired parents to be teachers,
Yeah.
and then children to learn.
You're 100%
So
right.
as long as
Yeah.
that, I think that's why it has to be healthy. Like if you've got that relationship
Yeah.
piece in place, then the learning is going to happen. And
Right.
it may not happen on your timetable, which
Yeah.
is always hard for me to remember.
Right.
But eventually they're gonna get there. And God's got them.
Okay, well, so let's talk to the
Praise the Lord.
homeschool.
Amen.
Let's
Yes.
talk about the homeschool mom that is already feeling overwhelmed and it's just week 2.
All right.
So what would you tell her? How
Oh
would
my
you
gosh.
encourage her?
Well, I just say, first of all, Mama, I see you.
Yes.
Aw.
It's hard. It's so
Yes.
hard. I would ask her, I would say, you're probably doing too much if you're already overwhelmed in week
Right.
2.
Putting
know-
too much on her.
Yeah, too much on. Just like
Yeah.
a mom with a newborn. Like,
Yeah.
are you trying to keep the house clean and cook all the meals and like
Yes.
work out? Like, you probably need to lay something down in this season.
Yeah, or a few things. Dan.
Yeah, or all the things except the one. You know,
Yeah,
like pick your
it's
one.
true.
I think, especially in the young years when you have those little kids, like, what's a win today?
Yeah.
Is it the one reading lesson that's going
Mhm.
to take 7 minutes with your kindergartner? Is it going to the park? Is that your win today?
Mhm.
Is it, maybe today cleaning the house is the win?
Mhm.
That's okay. Like you can learn a lot when you're little cleaning a house.
That's true.
Yeah, that's true.
But I think you're probably doing too much if you're overwhelmed and it's week 2. So
Mm-hmm.
figure out what's a win for today and
Right.
prioritize and drop all the rest. A wise friend told me you can have a clean house and home cooked meals and you can educate your kids, but you can only do 2 of those things. So pick 2.
There
You
go.
cannot have a clean house and home cooked meals and educate your kids in the same day. Like you can have a clean house and you can educate them, but you might be putting frozen pizza in.
Yeah.
So I think lowering expectations.
Lay something down. is what I
Lay
hear.
something.
And I hear give yourself some grace.
Yes.
Mhm.
I mean, it really is like anything else in motherhood, right?
Mhm.
It's like
Yep.
we put all this pressure on ourselves to get it right and to do it all on our own. It's like pray and ask the Lord,
Yeah.
why? Like he does not want us to be overwhelmed.
Right.
So God, your burden is easy, right?
Mhm.
Your yoke is easy, your burden is light. So if I'm feeling burdened
Yeah.
and it feels heavy, show me what I picked up that you have not told. And what can I
Yeah.
give you?
Right.
What am I carrying that I'm not supposed to be
Yeah.
carrying?
Yeah.
And lay it down.
I love that.
That's so wonderful. I love hearing that. Have you ever thought about quitting, or has there been a time when your children didn't want to be homeschooled, and how did you handle that?
So I've never thought about, there was probably a lot of days in the early years when I thought about quitting. I definitely threatened to put Elijah on the bus more than once. Like, if you do not do this,
You're getting
then
on the bus.
you're going to have to, I'm going to wake you up before dark and you're going to have to get on the bus. When she was like, that sounds good. You know?
Yeah. Like, that's not how that went in my head.
Yes, in those early years. But I think the only time I thought, and I wouldn't have said it was quitting, I would have said, let's take a break.
Mhm.
It's really interesting because part of my why in those early years was like, I want us all to be on the same schedule.
Mhm.
And so the year that Elijah was going into 5th grade, it would have been his kindergarten year. And so I was like, ooh,
Same schedule.
same schedule. They could all be at the same school and they could all do, like, we could still be on the same schedule. It'd be great. And it was 2019, fall of 2019.
Oh
and
my
like
goodness.
work had picked up a little bit. And I was
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh, it's going to be great. They're going to go off to school and then I'm going to work and it's going to be quiet. And then they're going to like, we're going to have all the good,
Yes.
none of the bad. It's going to be wonderful. So I was talking to my husband, like, what do you think? You know, wouldn't this be wonderful? Wouldn't this bring so much more peace into our house? And he was very wise. And he was like, I hear what you're saying. He's like, but I do think you're going to trade the peace that you have right now in the early mornings and in the afternoons for peace in the middle of the day. He was like, because I think the morning's going to be kind of chaotic getting 4
Right.
kids ready for school
Yeah.
and out the door and on it, which is, that's fine. He's like, but that's not going to feel peaceful. And right now your morning from 6 to 9 feels pretty peaceful.
Pretty peaceful.
He's like, and I think it's going to be kind of chaotic at the end of the day when everyone's, you know, coming in and, you know, that reentry. It's like, oh, that's an interesting perspective. I
We're
had
like,
not thought
golly,
about
this
before.
is why we married each other, because we think about things
But I was like,
different.
but it is going to be quiet, you know, that middle of the day. So he was like, let's pray about it. So we prayed about it. And I was like, no, I think let's keep homeschooling. And I'm so grateful because that
2020.
spring was when the world went mad and they
Yeah.
all would have
Everything's shut
been
down.
home and doing digital remote learning. And so in retrospect, hindsight, I'm glad that we did not push pause that year. But yeah, it was tempting. But I do think it was kind of a grass is greener situation. I think we
Right.
always feel that. Like,
Yeah.
Sure.
whatever you're doing, it's like, oh, if we were doing something different, it's not that raising kids is hard.
Right.
It's that, you know, if I did something different, there's an easy button that I can push and then it's going to be, all my problems will be solved and we'll have
There
peace in my
is
home.
no easy
Well,
button. in
isn't that the
raising
truth
children.
in motherhood?
Yeah.
We just
No,
want
there's
there to
no
be a-
easy button.
And we think we found it, but it's like it keeps moving, or it's not really
Yeah.
there.
It's just out of reach.
I just don't think it's there.
It's just the next season. It's going to be so much easier.
Yes.
It's just, yeah.
Anyways. Okay, well,
So-
I've got one more question. I have a couple more, but this is my next question. How do you teach a child that doesn't want to do the work?
So,
Did you have one of those?
I mean, at some point in every
Yeah.
day, there's a child that doesn't want to do the work,
Yeah.
I think. But I think it goes back to like, if their heart doesn't want to do the work, they're not. So you can push, which I'm a red. So I'm like, we're going to sit here and it doesn't work. Like they might get the work done, but they're not learning.
Yeah.
And so if you are able to like step back and be like, is the goal of today to get this math lesson done? Or is the goal for them to learn how to divide fractions?
Mhm.
Like, if I want them to learn to divide fractions and they're like being obstinate, and maybe we should just set it down for 10 minutes, for an hour, for the week, which is really scary when you're a new homeschool mom because you're like, oh my gosh, we gotta check the boxes. But you know the saying, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. Have you heard that?
No.
Oh,
Have you? You're a teacher.
it's like
I
Lao
heard
Tzu,
that.
or I don't know if it's Confucius. It might
somebody.
be from Karate Kid.
Yeah.
But
I mean, basically, it's the
it's like
same
the
thing.
same thing.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think it's true. It's like when your kid is ready to learn something, all of a sudden, it's not like the teacher magically appears, but like they will see you or their textbook or whatever it is as
They're ready.
the teacher. It's like, oh, I'm ready to be taught now. And so when I think sometimes, and different kids are on different timetables with things, which
Sure.
is maddening. When you're like, my other 2 kids did it this way and nobody had a problem and everybody learned from this book, you know, why aren't you learning?
Right.
So I think you just need to take a break
Mhm.
when your kid doesn't want to do the work or when their heart's not in the right place, and pray and take a deep breath and be like, this day, this lesson, this whatever it is not the be all and all that I'm making it. And like, let's
Yeah.
come back to it. And when the student's ready, then they'll learn it.
Then
I mean,
they'll
it's just
learn
like anything in life. Like when we're in a place where we're like, oh, okay, I finally need to know this thing.
See, I feel like if that was me, I'd be like, no, now is the time.
Mm-hmm.
This is 2 plus 2. We
Yeah.
need to figure out the answer, and then you can go do your thing.
Mhm.
And I'm going to dig my heels in.
Yeah.
And we will learn it. And then Harper would just look at me and be like, well, I'm not doing anything. And then I'd just lose
Lose your cool
Lose
or
my
your
cool.
ever-loving mind.
yes.
Yeah.
So that makes me just think about it. And I'm like, oh gosh. I don't know.
It's hard. It's hard because you have to take the long-term view that like,
Yeah.
Harper may do the worksheet and she may write 2 plus 2 is 4. But like, what have I really won?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Did I really win long-term if me and Harper are now at odds? Like,
Yeah.
what is the ultimate goal of education? It's for Harper to know the Lord.
Mhm.
You know, it's for my kids to know who the Lord is.
Mhm.
And so 2 plus 2 is 4 can wait. Let's point them to Jesus. And
Yeah.
especially through the way
Yeah.
that mom's handling this.
Yeah,
like that's,
exactly. That's a
Ugh.
really good point.
That is hard.
Okay, so between homeschool
Mm-hmm.
and your motherhood duties,
Mm-hmm.
when do you find time for Katie?
It's easier now than it used to be.
Yeah.
So although when it was little, it was like when they were little, it was nap time. Like nap
Mhm.
time was sacred.
Oh, I
Like,
bet. And everybody better take a nap.
And that's like we did quiet time for the
Yeah.
longest. I was like, you don't have to go to sleep, but you can't stay here.
You got to go in your
You
room.
gotta go away.
Yeah.
So quiet time was sacred when they were little. And then now it's like at the edges of the day. I get up early. I'm a morning bird.
Mhm.
So
You go
Um,
work out in the morning. That's for you.
yeah, I go work out. That's for me. Quiet time's for me. My first 2 cups of coffee
Yes,
Mhm.
girl.
are for me.
Yes. I'm with you on that.
And then honestly, nowadays that they're teenagers, I go to bed early too.
Yeah.
And that's like me time. Because I'm like, I'm done. I don't
Yeah.
want to watch whatever stupid show you guys are watching.
Yeah,
Your dad
exactly.
is all about like he loves watching
Mhm.
dumb things. So
Yeah.
they'll stay up. I mean, not that late, but like they stay up later now. And so
Sure.
I'm like, I want to be alone. And I've found like, okay, you got to be alone in your room. And I'm tired. So
Yeah.
Good night.
exactly. So if
Yeah.
I have a good book, I will go to bed early because I'm like, I want to be up early and that's peaceful and quiet. So
Yeah. I love that.
yeah. So going to bed early.
I think a lot of moms can appreciate that.
Yes.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
What would you say to the mom
Mm.
who's constantly second guessing whether she's doing enough or doing it right?
I would empathize. I would
Mm-hmm.
say, amen, mama. Like, aren't we all?
Mm-hmm.
Aren't we
Yeah.
all, no matter the age of our kids, like you're like, am I doing enough? Are they in the right things? Are they in too many things? Do I give them too much money? Do I ask too much of them? Do I not ask enough of them? As moms, we all want a report card. Like, how am I doing?
Yes.
You know? But with homeschool moms, we've just opted out of the one place where you could actually get a report card for your kid.
Yeah.
Of like, oh, they got A's. I am doing a good job. So I think that can be difficult. But I think if the homeschool mom, usually if they're worried if they're doing enough or doing it right, they're thinking about the academic side of things and like,
Yeah.
are they on track? Are they where everybody else is?
Mhm.
So I would just like gently push back against the idea that there is a on track,
Mm-hmm.
so to speak, that there's a place that all 8-year-olds should know these things and,
Yeah.
you know, be in this math level. And
Sort of be more concerned of their track instead of on track.
that's so good. I'm
Okay.
going to steal that.
Mom.
Yes. Are they
Wow.
on their track? You know,
Yeah.
and maybe for you in the season, like that's a character, a heart thing for your
Yeah.
kid. Maybe it's they're 8 years old and they're still not reading. Like that's okay. But like, are you making progress? Are you working towards it?
Yeah.
And honestly, how does your home feel?
Well, honestly, I think you could apply that to whether you homeschool or public school, private school, it doesn't
Mhm.
matter.
Yeah.
We could all take note on that. Okay, so your youngest is 10 now.
Yeah.
So what practical tips do you have for moms juggling school with younger
Mm.
children?
I think for moms of young kids, you have to remember that like you are not trying to replicate school.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a reason school
Yeah.
takes as many hours as it does. There's a reason school is set up. There's a reason kids sit at desks. Like there's
Mhm.
usually one teacher and dozens of students. And
Mhm.
so school has evolved to meet the needs of that type of classroom, but you're in a
Sure.
different situation. So don't try to do school at home. It's not going to take you all day.
Yeah.
Like you're in a one-on-one situation. So I think like all teachers, if you've got one student, you can get through the 45-minute lesson in 5 if they're
For
picking
sure.
it up.
Mhm.
Or that 45-minute lesson could take all week if there is something in the way there and they're not getting it. So like if you can let go of the idea of that, you know, this is what this is what school looked like for me. And so this is what I'm trying to do at home. You don't have to sit at a table. You don't have to have a pencil to practice writing. You know, like you can practice writing with sidewalk chalk, and there's so many different ways.
Right.
So I think free yourself from the idea that like you're replicating the classroom. And if you can find a 20-minute block, and it doesn't have to be like all in a row. If you can find like 20 minutes in the morning to work on letter sounds, and then you can find 20 minutes while the baby's napping to play with numbers, that's enough. Especially in those early years, like you should not be spending all day teaching a 5-year-old. Like you're going to burn that kiddo out and yourself in the process.
So like when Jude was toddler, let's say 4 years old, like Grayson's age.
Yep.
Yeah. You know, just into everything.
Yes.
I mean, you'd have to be watching him. So would you just I'm just curious. I've never done this. So would you get the older kid set and going and then just sort of pay attention to him?
No, I would get him set and going.
Okay.
Like, so a lot of times, so doing a read aloud is a simple, like we would pull out the Play-Doh or something quiet, coloring sheet. So when I'm reading like their history story aloud, we would have coloring sheets all around. So Elijah's not really doing it because he's 9. He's cued in on the story or, whatever. And Jude is scribbling on coloring sheets, or we would have the Play-Doh out so that the younger kids are listening and hearing the lesson or the story or the read aloud that we're doing. And the older kids, I'm expecting them, like, when we're done, hey, so what happened? Where did they live? What was going on? What was the problem, the main character? So the older kids, even though we're all hearing the same story, I'm asking the older kids
questions.
I'm expecting a higher level of retention from them. But in those younger years, too, a lot of times, if there was something like, Elijah and I really got to get this done, we would turn on a show. Jude would sit and watch a show.
Yeah.
Because in a 30-minute show, you can get through an English grammar lesson with an 8-year-old or a 9-year-old. So
it's just like what you said. In a traditional class setting, if you have just one kid, you can get a whole week's lesson in 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Or it might take you a week and a half, just depends. So
yeah. And I think she just being like, you don't have to do school from 8 to 3 or 8 to 2. Like I know a lot of families that both the parents work and they homeschool. And so they're figuring it out like, hey, we do a lot of our school in the evenings because dad's home then. And so dad's doing the lessons or dad's putting the littles down for bed. And that's when we sit and we talk about, the 10th graders essay that they worked on by themselves while I was, working from home.
Sure.
There's different ways to do it. Some people do school on Saturday and Sunday.
Huh.
Like there's so
many.
Doesn't have to be Monday through Friday, 8 to 3 or whatever it is. But yeah, I would say for those younger moms, for sure, try to like break your little box that you had school in.
Yeah.
And if you can find a couple 20-minute blocks of time a day, whether you're putting on a show or you're like enlisting grandma to come watch the kids, or hey, why don't y'all go to the park with the neighbors? Then you can make it work.
It makes sense.
One of my really good friends, she homeschools, and they have like a little play kitchen for their youngest, and it's in their little homeschool
area,
school nook, and so she's playing.
Yeah.
She's right there, but also she's doing math and reading with her other older two. But she's got all of her little toys right there, because she's like, I can't just leave you downstairs. You know
exactly.
what I mean? So I think you just kind of have to make it work for your schedule and how old your kids are.
Exactly. Yeah, for sure. And I think if you have laid, like you always talk about laying a foundation in the early years and like discipline. I think if you have a feral household, it's going to be awful. But if you're like, not that the kids are perfect, but if you have laid a foundation of respect for one another, respect for me as
goes
mom,
a long way.
Yeah. And like discipline and like, hey, when mom says now's not the time to do XYZ, the 4-year-old listens.
Yeah.
Or, hey, if they have to go sit in their room for 20 minutes, that's a great time to practice phonics with the older kids.
There you go. Because they're doing their
2 birds, 1 stone.
There you go. This is probably my favorite question of the whole episode is what fruits have you seen over the years that you wouldn't trade for anything?
I love that question. Well, we're still in it.
Yes.
So I'm like, fruit. Oh, fruit comes at the end. So I'm still hopeful that there's more fruit down the road. But I think the relationships that my kids have with one another, their sibling bond that they already have is one of the biggest gifts that I've seen. Like they are friends. So 16, 14, 13, and 11, they enjoy one another and they have because we've had so much time together, like they have common
Sure.
interests and common things that they do together. Where I think back to like my sister and I are only 2 years apart, but when I was in middle school and she was in high school, like we lived in different universes.
Mhm.
We didn't have the same friends. She was playing sports. I was playing sports. Like we were in different worlds. And so it's beautiful that they really enjoy one another and they already have good relationships. So that has been fruit. Slow mornings. I love slow mornings. So
Yeah.
just there's peace in our home in the mornings instead of chaos. That's good. And then I think something, as I was thinking about this question, one thing that has been a gift that I think homeschooling has given my kids is the lack of labels on them.
Okay.
So specifically, I think of my middle son, who my first 2 kiddos are pretty by the book. Like you stuck a book in front of them and was like, this is how we're supposed to learn how to read. And they did it according to how it was supposed to go, the standard. And then Ben was different. So I was like, here's our book. We're going to learn to read. Your brother and your sister did this and it worked like clockwork. Let's go. And it was not working. And my mom is a reading specialist, like all the certifications. So I was like, Mom, like, what do you think? And so she was giving me different strategies and he's 5 and it's like, he is not reading. And then he's 6 and he's not reading. And he's 7 and we're like still doing like at, and I'm like, my gosh, like if he was in a traditional school, he would have been labeled and he would have been in a separate group, interventions, let's do some remediation, but he had no idea that he was behind.
Right.
Yeah.
No idea that he was not doing what most kids his age could do, and by the time he was 7, he was old enough to start to see, but it wasn't every day in his face.
Sure.
And I really think if he'd been in a public school situation and his personality, he's green, yellow, like I think he could have easily gone, I'm not smart. School's not for me.
I'm not going to do it.
I'm going to be the class clown. I'm charming. I can get by on something else. So it was like, he must have been around 8 years old, like 3rd grade. And it was like, this is still so hard. And he still wasn't reading. And then it was like a switch flipped. So it was Christmas of that, whatever year he was that he turned 8. And something happened over Christmas break because we just kept at it. I was like, okay, you can't read, but I'll read to you.
Yeah.
We would lay in bed together, with my finger on the page and I was reading and we got to a word he could sound out. He would sound it out, and then we keep going. And I was like, I don't know what else to do, but we're just going to keep reading. And then it was just like, it was like a switch flipped. And then he was reading. And then by the end of that year, he was reading Harry Potter books, which I remember very distinctly because his older brothers and sisters loved Harry Potter. And that was, they were into the movies. And it was like when the student's ready, the teacher will appear. Yeah. It was like potty training, when you're like forcing it and you're freaking out over it and you're like, oh, why aren't you on the schedule? And then they just do it one day and you're like, maybe I should have just relaxed and waited.
Maybe your body wasn't ready just yet.
Yeah. So, but that taught me so much about, and he has no, and now he's on level with everything. It was just, he needed more time. I don't know what was going on in his brain. I don't know what his body needed, but he's wired differently and he needed the extra time. And so I'm so grateful that we were homeschooling and that he did not, I just think his train could have jumped and gone on a different track.
100%.
So I'll be forever grateful that he never thought, oh, I'm less than or, different. So,
or I'm slow or whatever.
Yeah. So I'm like, you're so much faster than your brother and sister at certain things, but
we all have our strengths and we all have our
weaknesses.
weaknesses.
And I think because the kids, when they're in a traditional school environment for 8 hours a day and they're consistently seeing, I'm not getting this as quick as the other kids. It's so, I think it goes back to this book, Dumbing Us Down. Like it diminishes their curiosity. It like dims that light in them that is like, I can learn. It dims what they think their own potential is, and then they don't.
Yeah.
So I'm grateful. I feel like homeschool gave us that gift, especially with Ben. Obviously, with all of the other kids, it's just really obvious with him.
I love that.
That's sweet.
Okay, to close out today, can you offer some advice or encouragement to 2 different groups? First off, the mom who's just beginning, and secondly, the mom in the messy middle.
Yes. So to the mom who's just beginning, I would say pack light.
Oh, that's good.
Like imagine you're about to go hike the Appalachian Trail. This is a long journey. You've heard those stories like by like mile 10, the people are like tossing stuff out. If you've ever watched that what is it? The Reese Witherspoon movie.
Oh, yes.
I never watched it, but I know which one you're talking
the scene where
about.
she's like chucking her boots.
I literally see clips of, I know this is so weird, but I get clips of that movie all the time on Facebook.
Oh, that's funny.
But I've never seen it.
Well, it's just like it's like the classic AT hiker. They have like everything, you know, like their books and their pots and their pans. And you're like, and I feel like as a new homeschool mom, you're like, I have my whiteboard and I have my freshly sharpened pencils and I have all the books we're going to read this year and my math curriculums and my manipulatives and my beautiful room and my watercolors, you know, and then your kid like hates it all, you know, or they just like want to play in the dirt. So it's like, I think if you start light, like what is your priority? What are you aiming at? And then if you're like, oh, this is going great, like you can add stuff. Absolutely. If you're like, we are trekking along, everyone is loving this, like you can add stuff in.
Right.
Week 2, 3, 4, month 2. But like, I feel like so often we just start with sky high expectations and totally loaded down. And then we're so weary and overwhelmed by week 2 because we're trying to do all the different things. So start light. It's a long trip.
That's good.
It's a long walk.
That's easy and practical, but it's very helpful.
Yeah. I mean, maybe it's the same in motherhood too.
Yes.
Yeah. Lower those expectations, mama.
Always. What about the messy years?
I think in the middle, you have got to know what your why is. Like, why did you start? And I think for some moms start off homeschooling and then some moms are in traditional school and then they make the leap and there's a reason you left or reason you chose homeschool.
Sure.
And so I think it's really important to write it down. Like, have it in front of you. Why are you doing this? Because then in those messy days when nobody wants to do the lesson and it's not going the way that it's not going according to the picture you had in your head, you can be like, oh yeah, you know, with my kid's mental health was on the rocks when we were in the public school system. So I'm going to keep going. This is really important.
Yeah.
Or my kid has special needs and the system just wasn't working. Or we wanted together time, but here I am yelling at my kid about science, you know, so like remember your why and take a deep breath and back up. And then I also say to the mom in the middle, you need to be surrounded by community. Like you got to find your people. And that made a huge difference for me when we, like when Elijah hit 3rd grade and we joined classical conversations, I'm like, these are my people. These people, like these people are doing this the way that I dream of doing it. And the people who are ahead of me on the journey, I love what I see in their families and in their kids. So I think if you're in the middle and you're questioning your purpose and why you started, it's like find those people who are a little bit ahead of you that can be like, this is what we're aiming at, and then find people who can come around you to encourage you and stand beside you.
And I feel like these days there's a lot more homeschooling communities than when I was in school.
Yes,
like, you know
for
what I mean?
sure.
Like it's much more common.
You can find your people. Whoever your people are, whatever way you want to homeschool, you can find them. I mean, the internet is a scary place, but it's a beautiful place to start. So,
that's right. Yeah.
You can find your homeschool people, and there's a million different ways to do it. And there's so many resources now, from like homeschool hybrids to like fully online to unschooling. Like there is a version of homeschooling, I feel like, that will fit most families. You can find what you're looking for out there. So.
Well, Katie, this was so good.
It was so
good. It was just so
good.
encouraging, too, to hear it. You know,
it's inspiring.
Yes.
Truly.
You're doing a great job.
Well, thanks. Well, I love it. So, and if any moms, you guys know where to find me. So for homeschool encouragement, I'm your girl. So I like to come alongside you and
you can
imagine
do
me
it.
with my virtual pom-poms behind you. Exactly.
Well, I was watching on Instagram your family. Y'all were doing this hike and jumping off cliffs into water. And I told her, I said, I want to be a member of your family. This looks so fun.
I mean, we try. It is a lot of fun.
Right?
I really like my people.
Family. Yes.
I really like my kids. And I think homeschool has helped me to really enjoy my kids because I get to see all different aspects of their personality.
And they get to see you in so many different.
True.
I mean, I know
do.
You say it's one hat, but also
for better or worse, we know each other real well.
Yeah,
it's good.
So it's a good thing.
Well, thank you for joining us on the show. You did great.
Thanks for having me.
Oh my goodness.
Thanks for wanting to talk to the homeschool moms. I do feel like there's a growing segment of our Birds on a Wire community, but definitely just all over. And so I think it's huge to be like, we see you guys, we see you, and have a great year.
Yes.
I love it. Thank you so much. This was so fun.
Yeah. Thanks,
Thanks,
Katie.
y'all.
Yes.